Hi everyone. Hope you all are good. We are here for grade 5 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password is provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 5 math and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter number 30. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples. And I'm on the grade 5 math chapter we're on right now is number. Let's just start with the lesson that is divisibility. So what are the divisibility rules? Basically, you can take 9 to 10 minutes to do question. We have to apply a small rule on the question and we can then tell if that is the number that is divisible by 9, right? The divisibility rule for every number is different. For example, the divisibility rule for 9 is you need to add up all the digits. The digits of the number are 1 plus 5 plus 9 plus 2 plus 8. Sum of all the 5 numbers is 25, right? We need to divide the 25 by 9. We cannot divide 25, sum we cannot divide by 9. That means the number we also cannot divide by 9. Let's just start with the test questions. Is 4890 divisible by 6? So the divisibility rule for 6 is the number must be divisible by 2 and 6. If the number is divisible by 2 and is divisible by 3, the number is divisible by 6, right? That means we need to apply the divisibility rule for 2 and 3. The divisibility rule for 2 is the ones digit must be 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. So the ones digit is 0. That means your number is divisible by 2, right? And the divisibility rule for 3 is you need to add the digits that is 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 21. 21 is divisible by 3, right? That means the number is divisible by 2 and is divisible by 3. So that means the number is divisible by 6. Got it? So yes, it is divisible by 6. The correct option is yes, it is divisible by 6. Is 4709 divisible by 2? So we need to apply the divisibility rule for 2, right? The divisibility rule for 2 is the ones digit must be 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. But here the ones digit is 9. So no, the number is not divisible by 2. The correct option is no. So no, the number is not divisible by 2. Is 84,366 divisible by 10? So we need to apply the divisibility rule for 10. The divisibility rule for 10 is the one that is the easiest one. The ones digit must be 0. So is this number divisible by 10? No, the number is not divisible by 10 because the divisibility rule for 10 is the ones digit must be 0, but here the ones digit is 6. So no, the number is not divisible by 10. Is 17,266 divisible by 5? So we need to apply the divisibility rule for 5, right? No, the number is not divisible by 5 because the divisibility rule for 5 is the ones digit must be 5 or 0. But here the ones digit is 6. So no, that is not divided by 5. Okay, is 9,963 divisible by 2? Yes or no? Which is the correct option? No, that is not divisible by 2 because for the divisibility rule, the ones digit must be 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. But here we have 3. So no, that is not divisible. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is greatest common. What is the greatest common factor of 6 and 4? Greatest common factor, we need to write the factors of the numbers, right? So we need to write down the factors of the numbers, right? Factors are the numbers that when multiplied together make the same number again. The factors of 6 are 6 times 1 is 6, right? So 6 and 1s, they both are the factor of 6. 3 times 2 is 6, so 3 and 2 is also the factor of 6. Now we need to write down the factors of 2. So 4 times 1 is 4 and 2 times 2 is 4, right? So the greatest common factor of 6 and 4 is 2. Okay, I'm going to start with the test questions. What is the greatest common factor of 6 and 10? Basically, the greatest common factor is the number that can divide both numbers easily, right? So let's just write down the factors of 6. 1 times 6 is 6 and 2 times 3 is 6, right? 1 times 6 is 6 and 2 times 3 is 6. These are the factors of 6, right? Now let's just write down the factors of 10. So that is 1 times 10 is 10 and 2 times 5 is 10. Do we have any other numbers that when multiplied makes 10 and 5? So the greatest number that is common is 2. So the greatest common factor of 6 and 2 is 2, right? So the greatest common factor is 2. Option 1 is the correct option. What is the greatest common factor of 10 and 4? So let's just write down the factors of 10, right? They are 1 times 10 is 10 and 2 times 5 is 10. Now let's just write down the factors of 4. 1 times 4 is 4 and 2 times 2 is 4. So what is the greatest common factor? So the correct option is 2. Option number 2 is the correct option. What is the greatest common of 9 and 6? Let's just look at the options. 3 and 6. Basically, the greatest common factor is the number, GCF is the number that can divide both the given numbers easily, right? Look at the first one, 3. Sorry, I selected the option actually. Now let me explain. What is the greatest common factor of 8 and 6? So look at the factors. Options. Option is 5. Can we divide 8 by 5? No. Can we divide 6 by 5? No. But look at the second one, 2. 8 divided by 2 is like 2 times what number is 8? 2 times 4 is 8. And 2 times 3 is 6. So that means 2 is the greatest common factor. Option number 2 is the correct option, that is 2. What is the greatest common factor of 6 and 4, which is the correct option? Very good. So the greatest common factor is 2. Very good. What is the greatest common factor of 4 and 6? Yes, 2 it is. Very good. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the greatest common factor of 10 and 8? Option number 1 is the correct. Option 2 is the only number that can divide 10 and 8. What is the greatest common factor of 6 and 9? Okay, we are done with the lesson. Let's just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is least common multiple. Let's just start with the lesson. Now, least common multiples. We need to write down the multiples now. The multiples mean the multiplication tables, right? Relate the word multiples with the multiplication tables. See, we need to write down the multiples of 9. They all are the ones that are in the table of 9. 9 times 1 is 9, 18, 3 is 27, 4 is 36, 5 is 45, 6 is 54, 7 is 63, and 9 times 8 is 72. Same way, we need to write down the multiples of 8. So, multiples means the table of 8, right? The multiplication table of 8. So, the greatest common multiple of between them is 72. Got it? What is the least common multiple of 2 and 11? So for the multiples of 2, we need to write down the table of 2, right? Multiplication table. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 6 is 12, 2 times 7 is 14, 2 times 8 is 16, 2 times 9 is 18, and 2 times 10 is 20. 2 times 11 is 22. Now write down the multiples of 11. 11 times 1 is 11, 11 times 2 is 22, 11 times 3 is 33, 11 times 4 is 44. So the least common multiple between them is 22. Got it? That is 22. Option number 2 is the correct option. What is the least common multiple of 3 and 12? So let's just write down the multiples of 3. They are 3. 1 is 3, 2 is 6, 3 is 9, 4 is 12. Now write down the multiples of 12. 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 12 times 3 is 36. So what is the least common multiple? The least common multiple is 12. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is 12. Let's just write down the multiples of 5. That is 5 times 1 is 5, 2 is 10, 3 is 15. Let's just write down the multiples of 10. 10 times 1 is 10, 10 times 2 is 20, 10 times 3 is 30. Very good. The least common multiple is 10. What is the least common multiple of 4 and 10? So let's just write down the multiples of 4 and 10. 4 times 1 is 4, 2 is 8, 3 is 12, 4 is 16, 5 is 20. Now the multiples of 10 are 10, 20 and 30. So what is the least common multiple? Ten it is, sorry, 20 it is. The least common multiple is 20. The correct option is 20. Option 1 is the correct option. What is the least common multiple of 3 and 7? Let's just write down the multiples of 3 and 7. Okay. Which is the least common multiple of 3 and 7? Very good. 21 it is. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is the next one is divisibility rules. We're going to start with the test questions. 'As the company picnic, 363 employees will participate in a relay race. Each team must be the same size. How many teams could the company form for the relay race? So we have to 363. No, we need to see 300 which number, right? We have to find the what number it is divided by. So which is the correct option? 10, 6, 2 and 3. Which is the correct option? 3 is the only number that can divide 363. So the correct option is 3. Option number 4 is the correct option. Okay. More high school year back. Yearbook, she puts need to put the same number of photographs in each row with no photographs left over. If Molly has 663 photographs to arrange, how many photographs could she put in each row? Basically, we have to see which number can easily divide 663. So, for that purpose, we need to use the uh, divisibility rules, right? Which number it is divisible by. So start with the first one. The divisibility rule for 9 is you need to add up the digits. If the sum is divisible by 9, the number is divisible by 9. So 6 plus 6 is 12 and 3 15. 15, do we have 15 in the table of 9? No, that is not divisible by 3. Okay, the next one is 663 divided by 3. So that is 121. That means yes, the number is divisible by 3. Got it? The correct option is 3. Option number 2 is the correct option. I think there is internet isn't working fine right now. That's why I'm lagging and this is going to happen. Okay, the next one is a candle factory needs 6 scented candles. The factory will ship the candles in several boxes. Each box same number of candles. How many boxes could the factory use for the order? 936 candles they have to ship, right? Let's just add and divide by 9. Wait, let me check the number. I think it is 936. Yes. So 9 and 6, 15, 16, 17, 18. Which number 18 is divided by? That is 18. Only 2 is the number that can divide 18. Option number 1 is the correct option. Um, a dish company needs to ship an order of 1616 glass bowls. The company will put the bowls into several boxes. Each box contains the same number of bowls. How many boxes could the company use for the order? That is 616. So, which is the correct option? 616. 6 plus 6 plus 1. That is 13. Right? So, which number 616 is divided by? That is 2. 2 is the only number that can divide 616. So, the correct option is 2. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we were working on grade 5 math. Chapter we were working on is number theory. The lessons we have covered today are divisibility rules, test common factor, least common multiple, and divisibility lesson. Again, if you need more help, I'm here. to answer all your questions and confusion.